vacant property register.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion by Allen and second by Galen. Further council discussion?
As far as initially, I mean, is information going to be sent out to all current vacant building owners, or is it just moving forward to trigger that they're going to get the information on it, or the application?
We'll probably try and make a list to send it to. We'll probably have to just base it on utilities, which ones we know that are empty. To start with anyway.
So the ones that are currently vacant and have been for 2 or 3 or 5, 6 years will be notified, and they will be expected to come and register and start the process of
Correct.
selling or fixing or something.
Right, right.
The only thing that I had a little trouble with in this is, I believe, if I remember right, it says that they have, once this is enacted, until December 31st to file if it's currently vacant.
Right.
So we're talking just half a month.
Yeah, it probably won't, so it has to be published. So the ordinance also has to be published before it takes effect. So it'll probably have to be for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to get everything mailed and done.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a pretty tight window.
Right.
So then the date will be December 30, 2022, or
Correct. I haven't gotten used to saying 2022 yet, so. Yes, that would be correct.
From understanding, then that means what is currently vacant has the potential to remain vacant, unregistered for an entire another year,
Yeah, we would hope that they'd start registering them.
coming in
And-
sooner rather than later,
Right,
but the
right.
sunset date is the calendar year
Correct. Well, and properties will come on and off of it too,
end. Sure.
as they're no longer vacant.
do we need to let it go that long, or could we do it to June?
We could do it till June.
6 months, is that an adequate amount of time to be able to be in touch with landowners that are out, or building owners that are out of town, out of state, out of,
I'd probably leave it till December, and
okay.
that way we have time to get a handle on it.
Okay. Only comment I have, I don't even know what I'm getting at or what it would look like, but is there enough in here to take care of, your token foreclosed bank, huge bank owned property that's on the other side of the country? I mean, there's one that comes to mind that's probably been bank owned for almost 10 years. I mean, is this, they sit there and pay the high property taxes. I mean, is this going to have enough teeth in it for them to do anything?
Hopefully. If not, we may have to do a revision. Yeah. I know there's a few. There's a
I
few.
mean, I
of
think
them
you know
now.
what I'm talking about. but-
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Kind of, we face that issue when we cross that bridge.
Right.
Well, it's a start anyway, I would assume.
Yeah.
We have a motion by Allen, second by Galen to approve as submitted in our packet. Further council discussion. Public comment. Please state your name and your address.
Angela Weinkauf, 201 Old Dubuque Road. I'm really excited that this is happening. The only concern that I had is that sometimes in losses, it's going to take more than 90 days for a property owner to be able to restore their property. Is there an exception or an extension that they can apply for? Like Thou Art was completely destroyed and they obviously were not rebuilt 90 days, but they did. And I just don't feel like they should be punished.
Well, they would have hopefully pulled a permit, which would mean that they're moving towards not being on the vacant property register.
So that will exempt them from that.
They should have pulled a permit.
Okay.
This permit or building permit?
a building permit. If it's gonna be something where there's an insurance loss, generally they pull a building permit. So that you kind of know that things are happening there.
Yeah, this is going on, I don't know, I think it's 2 years now since the derecho, and we still don't have part of our shop repaired.
Right.
So it's one of those, but it's not affecting the looks. You can't see it, but it could affect our sheetrock on the ceiling of our building if we get a bad rain.
Right.
So.
Hearing no other comments, questions? Beth, would you please conduct the roll vote?
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Mockart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Crump,
Yes,
Capron,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 7.2, discussion and possible action on light pole painting downtown. Shane Brown, street superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. Shane Brown. A few months ago, you asked me to maybe get some quotes on what it would cost to paint. There's quite a few. I hope you have this in your packet. We got 2 quotes. The third quote wasn't even a quote. He never got back to us. He wanted to remove them, haul them away, and then bring them back. That guy never did give us a quote. So the 2 quotes are from Pole Painting Plus out of Minnesota. And I believe the other one was pretty close to the same. Monticello, Minnesota, Cobalt. So with everything, with just one color, it's going to be $59,150 for the one quote. And the second quote for one color was $72,025. If you wanted 2 colors, the Cobalt was an extra 6,000 on top of that 72,000. And Pole Painting was 4,500 on top of the 59, so that came to 63,650. They thought that they could come into town, scratch everything up and paint it and be done in 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the weather. The guy called us from this Pole Painting Plus, and he would like to know sooner than later so he can get us on his schedule. But that's I just did what you guys asked when we went and we did, and that's including all the lights here, all the lights downtown. The clock tower is free when they do a town. So the clock tower right in front of K&W is free. They'll paint it and then make it look nice. All of the receptacles, trash cans, handrails, the seating that we have down there, that all gets painted too. So everything on here totals up to that 59,000.
Is that same color, like the trash cans and the benches are blue? Are those gonna be same color?
They would paint everything the same. So like if you wanted to go with black, which is Richie looking, that's what I would go with. Black's awesome. A lot of towns are going to it just because like their banners match a little better. Like if they have a red or a blue or maybe a gray banner, it's hard to see when you got 2 colors.
They say on they recommend black for its excellent UV resistance. I guess I would think black like draws the heat. I would think it'd wear.
They say that black really holds up well. I don't know. I just don't want to do this again and again. And, we waste money. These guys have done quite a few towns here in the state of Iowa. They seem to be pretty reputable. I mean, on their website and everything else, and talking to them, these guys out of Minnesota drove down, 2 of them did, and walked through town. And they looked at everything, so they knew what they were getting into.
which company, Shane?
The Pole Painting Plus.
Thank you.
Now, what about the new signpost?
So I don't know what we do with those. Those were not on here.
Them are the blue and
gray
Gray.
Yeah.
with green.
No, they're nice looking now. We could just leave them that way and paint them later when they need it.
They'll kind of stand out more too.
They, yeah,
They do.
If the other
They
poles
really do.
aren't. so
the
strong.
wayfinding signs,
And they're what color? Dark blue?
they're that gray and blue, but they're not the lighted signs, so we didn't throw them into this mix. We were just trying to get the lighted signs, the utility boxes are all looking really shabby. And we're getting this downtown looking really nice, and I think we should do the lights. I mean, 59,000, I thought it was gonna be 100. So I was shocked when this came in this low.
One question, Shane. Quality of paint has a lot to do with it. Did you ask for references from different cities, say going back 5 or 6 or 7 years, just to ask the city how the paint's holding up?
I have not.
I'm kind of thinking that might be a good idea.
Yeah, know what,
Cheap
like you
paint
said,
don't
quality
last
of
very
paint they're
long.
using. If it's standing up for, like Shane said, you don't want to keep doing it over and
No,
over.
And I don't know much about this outdoor paint, but we had a car come in with, where the clear coat was delaminating a year and a half after another body shop painted it. Turned out to be a really cheap paint. We had to strip the car, and we don't want to have to reshoot or repaint our poles and stuff. I'd like to see that done. I'm sorry if I'm making a little work for you there, buddy.
You are fine.
These have been out almost 20 years. I mean, we're looking at hopefully at least that long again.
Yeah, hopefully
so
we could get that kind of time on
I
it.
just, I don't know. think we gotta
I mean,
take-
they're
take a-
still in business for a reason too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I just want to take a good look at the color. I mean, and open, but it's something we're gonna have to look at for a long time. So
I just thought the black, one color
Yeah.
black and then everything goes with it.
I've been through a lot of towns that have black and they look pretty nice.
Yeah, they do.
Hiawatha, Robbins,
Central City, their new ones are all black.
Monticello, Springville is black now.
One question I have for you, is there possibly a way, instead of having them do like the garbage cans and the railings and some of that, that we could have maybe some summer help do that, if we could get maybe the paint from them to maybe try to save a little bit of money on this?
I never asked. But I know we were gonna save them some money by power washing the trash receptacles for them and the benches. That was gonna save us some money. They asked us if we would do that for them. We said, yeah.
How good are the trash receptacles? I know you mentioned once, there's some of them kind of getting rusty on the bottom,
Some
which
of
is
them,
understandable.
but yeah, that's the way it goes.
I didn't know if they needed replaced or how bad they
No,
are.
they don't need replaced. It's just gonna need whoever did the painting the last time. I don't think they use a good quality paint myself, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I thought they were powder coated.
That's what I've heard, but it doesn't look like powder coat to me.
Okay, well, they were sent out.
Yeah, they were sent out. I heard they were painted wrong. They got repainted.
would the cans and benches be taken back if they paint those on site?
No, they'll paint them right here on site. Everything will stay here.
is that brush or spray paint?
No, they're gonna spray them.
Spray them?
Yep. Oh, no, they're not brushing them.
You better have not all this wind we got when you spray.
Right.
But I think Alan, with checking with some towns that have had them done a few years ago, just to see if they're satisfied with how they're holding up.
Yeah, well, Jeff had mentioned 20 years. I think we should go back at least 10 and see how they're holding up.
Yeah,
And the
I
quality
would
of
think
paint.
if they had nothing to hide, they would just give us some towns to check with. And we could call them and it'd be done. It wouldn't take that long to do.
Right.
be worth it.
I think so.
Okay.
Alan, is that are you proposing a motion to table this until that information can be captured?
I move that we table this till Shane has time to talk to the painter of choice and ask them to give us a couple, 3 towns 10 years out, so we can call them and ask them how the paint is holding up.
Second.
Well,
Whoops.
And the
well,
clerk.
I was just gonna make a suggestion to, maybe you should call both, for both companies, because if
Okay.
he gets a bad report on the first one,
Yeah,
we don't
Okay.
want to keep pushing this down the road and then not get on a schedule. That maybe you ought to check with both companies.
okay, I rescind that motion and I make a new motion. I move that Shane calls the two companies that we've chosen and ask them to go back about 10 years and give us the names of the town, a couple towns or 3 towns that we could use as references to call and see how the paint's holding up.
I'll second that then.
Further council discussion? Public comment? Please.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron.
Yes.
Motion to table carried unanimous. 7.3, discussion and possible action on city council meeting location for 2022 and continued use of Zoom.
So as you may remember, at the first meeting in January, we always set the meetings for the next year. And I was preparing that and I know we said we were gonna have this discussion again at the end of the year, so.
I'd like to bring something up so we can think about this while we're deciding. I talked to the hospital today and there is a spike going on. So I do know that there's COVID around yet. I don't think that there's any, the pneumonia, whatever it's called, here yet, but I do know what the other one is because I just got done with it and it's nasty. I think that distance and safety of people coming here, if they want to be in the meetings, we're better here for the time being, and then maybe looking at it later down the year when we can see things have changed or not, but that's my comment.
I agree with that, that this allows us to spread out. I'd like to see us stay here at least until the 1st of July. At a minimum, if not all year in 2022. And continue with the Zoom viewing.
I agree with all that. I guess if we're visiting, though, if we're, like Alan's talked about the hospital situation, I guess I'd like to see us open it back up to people that want to speak. I've, heard from some people that if you can't make it to a meeting or, this past year, I ended up doing it for a while from home. It's just, I think we got the technology. I think I'd like to see us open it back up to people to speak, at least have the option.
You still have the option to participate electronically.
But
As an
I
elected
think for
official.
the public too, because sometimes there's conflicted schedules and they can't be here and would like to speak on something.
We'll have to have somebody that will monitor Zoom, and right now we're unmonitored. It's just a stream. Since Rebecca's gone,
Does anybody else at the library know how to do it? Could
they
be
have to
trained.
work these hours. Would be the only thing. So maybe once they get a new director, we can ask about that.
That may be a topic for later on then.
Mhm.
I mean, it complicates things as far as from our side administering that.
I get that. I'm just trying to be most accommodating for the public.
They are always welcome to either email or they can email or call about anything that's on the agenda prior to the meeting. too.
It's just hard sometimes because they don't know what's been talked about and sometimes in the hearing, when it's actually going on. Maybe since we don't have a director right now, can we, once we have a new director, can we put it on the agenda once we have someone hired?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
So do we need a motion?
We don't have one.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue holding meetings at least to July 1st of 2022 at the library with Zoom viewing.
I'll second.
We're gonna add about once the director's hired on that.
wouldn't that be a separate?
That can happen once they're hired. We don't need to have that as part of this
Yeah, I don't
motion.
think so.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. Council further? Public comment? Beth, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 7.4. Discussion and possible action on December 28th, 2021 city council meeting.
So I brought this up. I originally, looking at the calendar, thought it was gonna be the 27th, which the county offices and the city offices were closed, which found out that they're gonna be closed. It was pushed to 28th. I just, and looking back over the last 5 years, 2 of the last 5 years, there's only been one meeting in December, just when it's because of the holiday. That's why I brought it up.
and I ruined that because we have to have a public hearing and I have one other agreement that needs to be done before the end of the year. So
I'm okay holding a meeting on December 28th, even if it's a 15 or 20-minute meeting. I'm fine with doing
As
it.
long as we have a quorum here, if somebody has something
Yeah.
that wouldn't be able to coincide with the meeting, I mean, we can work around that and get this taken care of.
as long as we have a quorum, otherwise I'll see what I can do. The one's gonna be iffy about pushing that, but.
I
the
can
other
be
one
here.
can Just republish it.
I know that I'll be here. Maybe we could kind of, anybody else can say, I'll be here, so we know what we got to go.
I know I'll be here, so,
Yeah.
do we need a motion to do it, or since it's already on the schedule?
Nope, it's already on. the
Okay.
schedule, So, yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
We'll just work around it.
Next December will be the same, because it's another,
It's on Sunday, so Monday, it'll be the
Right.
same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
7.5, review and approval of architectural services agreement with Martin Garner for the pre-application phase of the downtown CDBG application phase 2.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Allen. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Motion to approve agreement carried unanimous. 8.0, new business. 8.1, review and approval of pay application for application number 2 for the Anamosa Fire Station addition in the amount of $49,400 to Boomerang Corporation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Has there been any update on when the building's coming, gonna be done or anything?
I haven't heard anything about the building yet. As far as I know, it was still February.
I was just curious.
Any additional discussion? Public comment? Beth?
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Stout.
Yes.
Motion to approve, carried unanimous. 8.2, review and approval of the following zoning board of adjustment appointments and terms. Beth, do each one of these need to be done
No,
individually? They can be.
They can be all together.
Thank you. First, Bill Carlson, December 2020 to December 2025. Second, Pat Callahan, December 2020 to December 2025. Third, Mary Hockenbach, December 2021 to December 2026. Fourth, Tammy Seeley, December 2021 to December 2026. 5th. Megan Thomas, December 2021 to December 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan to approve names as submitted.
Why is Carrie separate?
Different board. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's planning and zoning.
Oh, like I can't read. Sorry.
So is this board full then, or is there any openings?
This one's full.
Okay,
Planning and zoning still has a vacancy.
So is there something in process to flag the terms? Because like the first two were last year.
The first two should have been done last year. We had one meeting and only one of them was there, so.
Yeah.
So they're a little late, yes,
Better late than never.
that's right. Everyone agreed to come back, so that was a good sign.
Any public comment? Beth, please.
Mocker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
yes,
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout.
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.3, review and approval of the following to the Planning and Zoning Board appointments and terms. 1, Carrie Dearborn, August 2021 through August 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by John. Further discussion? Public comment? Yeah,
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
yes,
Capron,
Yes.
motion carried unanimous. 8.4, review and approval of application by Ronald French to join Anamosa Volunteer Fire Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Allen, second by Galen. Council? Public? Beth, please.
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
yes,
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.5, resolution approving the appointment of Darcy Tenley to the Library Board of Trustees to fill term ending June 30th, 2024.
move to approve.
I have a motion by Jeff,
I'll second then.
second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Crump,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.6, resolution approving the request from the city of Anamosa to amend the federal functional classification of Old Dubuque Road.
Move to approve.
second,
Motion by Allen, second by Rich. Council discussion.
Has this been reviewed by, looked over by Schneider or?
so yeah, Tim and the DOT, we've gone back and forth with a few drafts of this. This is the final.
Further discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
yes,
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.7, resolution to set the date for a hearing on proposal to enter into a water revenue loan and disbursement agreement and to borrow money their funder in a principal amount not to exceed $3,189,000.
this is for the well project.
on William Street.
Do we need to set it for December or,
Yep, if we can, December 28th
okay,
at 6 PM.
yep,
So is that, yep, your motion?
that is my motion.
Okay, then I'll second it.
Thanks, Kay and Rich. A motion by Kay, second by Rich. Further council discussion?
And just to clarify, this is separate. This does not go against our our borrowing max. This is a revenue bond, so
Yes,
does not tap into our legal max borrowing ability.
correct.
Public comment? Beth, please.
Mocker,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Scout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes,
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.8, review and approval of engagement agreement with Dorsey and Whitney for SRF water revenue proceedings.
They'll do all of our legal proceedings for the revenue bond.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Zumba,
Yes.
Scout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Mocker.
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.9, review and approval of change orders number 17 and number 18 for the downtown facade project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Allen, second by Galen. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Scout,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.10, review and approval of pay application number 6 to Tricon General Construction in the amount of $47,380.81 for the downtown facade project.
move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Galen. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Zumba,
Yes.
Mocker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Crump,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Scout,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.11, discussion and possible action on schematic design proposal for a street department storage building. Shane Brown, street superintendent.
Hello, everybody. Shane Brown, Street Department. We had this company come out and look around at our building. It's in pretty bad shape. We fixed it, but we're not gonna be able to keep fixing it. I got some pictures. Passed around. I only made one copy of each. What's happening is that building is past its life expectancy. We can't dump our dump trucks in it. We store our salt in it, our pre-mixed salt. And I can only get one major storm out of what we got on hand underneath that shed. I do have 100 tons of plain salt in there, and I have 100 tons of mixed salt in there, but they're together. So they're mixed, mingled, and it's kind of a pain. What we'd like to do, and this is just to maybe keep the ball rolling tonight, is to say, yes, you'd like it designed, or no, you don't want it designed. What we'd like to do is we've kind of got a size in mind. And so we could dump salt after we're done using it with the dump truck back inside. Right now, we're dumping salt outside, then we have to load it back in the loader and run the sweeper or the broom on the skid loader to sweep it up into a bucket. And then when we get salt delivered, they also have to dump it outside on the asphalt, and then we have to move it inside. So what we're hoping is we could get a building tall enough, we could get the truck backed in at least halfway and then push it in, and we wouldn't lose that salt out on the pad. And they could also deliver in the, when it's raining or snowing. We would also like to make one section of this building maybe heated. And that way we could back the dump truck and the new excavator and the trailer. It would stay loaded all the time. It would be in where it's heated. Right now, currently down at the wastewater, we have to have 2 people help you back in because you got to back in blindsided. This would be a quicker access. And maybe our building is also semi got some asphalt in it, but it's like a dirt floor. So the walls are sliding out or falling out. We did quite a bit of repairs. But like I said, the steel is starting to fail, rust, and I guess that's my pitch is we're gonna have to do something sooner than later, or we're gonna be stacking it outside like it was when I first started. And then we had to tarp it and untarp it. And that doesn't work when it rains or snows.
So
We've got it inside now. We've forced it, you know what I'm saying? We've got it in there.
Yeah.
It's just not handy. It's handy, but it's not handy. Like I said, when we're done at the end of the day, we have to dump it on the ground and then loader it back into the building. We've tried backing in as far as we can, and then we hit and break a rafter and we fixed them already.
I know that building's in bad shape. I just got some questions though. So, in reading through this, are you talking about connecting the building or detached?
We actually are thinking about connecting like it would be 10 foot wide from the old building to the new building. And that way there'd be no slips, trips or falls with the ice and stuff. I asked for this just because we go down there so much to get something, you know, and we carry it up and we put it in. It would be just so much handier not to walk through the ice and the snow. Not to say we couldn't.
Which I get that. I'm just, as far as being conscious of the dollar. I mean, the other thing is talking about engineering. I'm saying if it was just a standalone building, is it something that would have to be engineered? I mean, if you're just putting up a building, a
So
standalone
we
building,
have to raise it some.
the grade.
We're gonna have to raise it because of the flooding.
I was gonna say, it's gonna be in a floodplain if you're putting it where the old building is.
So the old building, the water was up 2 foot to the doors, but it never went, would it go inside a foot, Galen?
It was just barely inside.
It was barely inside, so we thought if we raised it 2 foot or 2.5 foot,
What is the floor like?
it's dirt.
Okay, foundation is falling out, is that?
It's just a pole building
Whole building,
So
yeah.
the-
with boards around it.
if we did that, we could actually raise the floor a foot.
Yeah, so what we were hoping we would do concrete walls, concrete floor, and then concrete dividers in there so you could have a, you know, like,
Sand and salt and sand and.
right. So what my goal is, and I don't know about anybody else, but if it snows 6 inches, I only have enough for that 6-inch snow of the mixed stuff. What I got mixed already of the man sand and the salt together. This would give us maybe 3 big events pre-mixed, you know, like of the man sand and the salt. And then also too, I'm hoping we could get dang near our whole contract in before the weather would get bad, like by September. You could have all 200 tons or 250 tons of your salt there.
So you'd be ready for back-to-back storms.
Yep, all but the man sand, which is not that far away, and we can get that hauled in.
So in here, it mentions a pre-engineered metal building, but you're talking about cement. So I don't think they have, because with the metal building and the salt, it's gonna rust. Right.
But this building is, but it's not gonna touch that because we're hoping for like 6-foot walls, 6 to 8 foot walls. So it'd be up higher. This also, the front doors, let the snow come in. They ice over. This would have, I'm hoping, overhead doors so you can push a button, go in, get what you needed and shut it up.
And I don't doubt that we need a new building. I just did some poking around. So like our current street shop, the big street shop is 85 by 130 according to Beacon. So it's about 11,000 square feet. This is 100 by 120. That's 12,000 square feet. So we're gonna have a bigger building to store salt than we have for all of our plow trucks.
Yeah,
I mean, I look at
but
what the
60 of it though, we wanted to make it for heated. And we thought we'd do that ourselves. Like do the walls, put the insulation to save us some money. That's not gonna have a lot of lighting in it. I mean, it's gonna have some LEDs inside, some LEDs outside. But I need the height to get stuff backed in so we don't have to dump it outside. We lose a lot of time. I have to have a guy there to move the salt in all the time. If this way, we only had to open the door, they backed in, they dumped, we don't have to shove it up. Now we haul it with the loader. We haul it from out in front of our building into the building. Then we have to push up. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time consuming that guy could be up on Main Street, loading trucks for salt or with snow. I mean, sorry. I mean, yeah, it seems like a big building, but it's by the time you put 200 tons of salt in there and maybe 150 tons of the pre-mixed salt, which is for like when it's minus 10, 20. I got some of that in 2 buildings just so we have it on hand. And then your pre-mix pile, which is your man sand and your salt, that's in another compartment, which if we get a 6-inch snow and it snows all day and then night, I can't get it hauled in fast. I can't get hauled in. So it seems like a lot. We're also trying to do cold storage too with some other equipment. So we're trying to make it big enough to get like some pumps and stuff, maybe at the ends, in where it's dry and not having to move this stuff out of that like renewable energies when there's going to be a flood, a little like 17-foot or 18-foot flood. We have to move stuff out of renewable energies right now. And so we wouldn't have to do that. It wouldn't be so timely with that.
I don't, we need, it's an old building, but it just seems big and it'd be nice to connect them, but I feel like connecting them just at cost. And I was talking to the old DOT supervisor out here, and what they have this year at the county, so they have like their salt called silo, and they have their brine building, but their salt sand building is only a 60 by 40, a 3-sided open on one side, and that's more than what we have now. So I'm just wondering, do we need something that big?
Hey, it doesn't matter. We were just trying to put some other equipment in this building too, that way we're not building another building down the road.
Do you have enough room down there for?
I do.
This size of a building?
I do.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I've measured it out and then the sewer department's helped me we've measured it. We do have enough room. We will have to move a fire hydrant. But that would be okay too. We also thought about putting a water, what's that thing called? A water salesman where they put in 15 quarters or whatever and they get their water. It would come out of the side of the building versus out of that fire hydrant down there. Which we seem to be helping them get water instead of them just getting water. And then they don't have to worry about people stealing water or whatever. They're not going to City Hall too. And we were just thinking a cheap one, like throw in some quarters and you get whatever it is for the amount of water for that. That was also a thought too.
So have you looked into like the hoop barn type scenario for storage?
We have not. We went this route because we knew we had to have it engineered for the walls because they're gonna be up higher. And then we knew that we, for the flooding, I figured we'd have to have it engineered anyway. So that's the route I kind of went. I talked with HR Green, and then they got me in contact with these people that they worked with. And now to go further on to see what it's gonna be, we need to say yes or no on paying for the rest of it.
I think like you said, Jeff, to try and save some money or at least look into it, an open front, like DOT gets by with it.
Because I know that salt and sand bill in the DOT, it's shared by the county and the DOT, and it's smaller than what we have. Now, like, I don't know what the DNR requires, if it just has to be, on cement and covered, but I agree we need to do something. I just, putting up a building that's bigger than our current street shop just seems excessive to me.
But we're gonna fill it with 3 other department stuff. Or 4, depending on what the
Right now,
LCC.
it's all undercover right now.
I've got the LCC mowers at our place for the winter cleaned up. They're in the back wall. It'd be nice to alleviate some of that. We got pumps down at the other building at Renewable Energy that the doors don't close on. That would take a lot to get them revamped. That would be nicer to have them in where it's warm, just in case of an emergency.
Well, the other thing is, I think you gotta build it up more than just 2 feet.
We might have to.
I mean, granted, the last time you said it was within 2 feet of the doors or whatever, but that's the last time. That doesn't mean that it's not going higher.
Right.
So,
We're just trying to make it easier for the semis to get in and out because we've got a fenced in area around this. And I'm trying to eliminate the fenced in area so we can back trucks in with ease, unload and go home, or they can get in and get out and be gone.
Your thought on the hoop building, I mean, granted, we might want to engineer the walls because we want them to last for a long time and they're going to be 6 foot high. But putting a hoop system on top of that would be way less expensive, I would think.
I would think so. Granted, it probably wouldn't get we wouldn't need 100 by 120, but
No,
we could get the salt, sand and everything else stored and we could open end it and
Yeah.
it would work.
The water got inside the door, just. It didn't get, I don't know why, you'd think with the way it looks there, it would have flooded inside, but the new sirens were setting in there yet. That's the only thing we didn't get moved before the levee broke. And everybody's surprised that the water wasn't, but it didn't. It don't look like it's that much higher in there, but it did get a couple feet inside the door, but it must go up just enough. I mean, we lucked out there that the sirens didn't get
Yeah.
ruined that time.
Well, that whole area is in the floodplain, so it just, if we put a new building up, we just took all the flood insurance off because you said that old building really didn't matter much and what's in there you could get out.
We can.
So we took flood insurance off of everything. If we build a new building, I'd say we'd almost have to put flood insurance back on because I'd hate to lose a brand new building
Yeah.
without having something to cover it.
Well, and that can be part of my report because it pertains to this, the other night, emergency management. They're tripling premiums on flood insurance. Brenda told me that, I suppose with all the floods all over, that's really gonna jump. I mean, you gotta, like you said, new building, you don't wanna not have it insured then. Hopefully you don't have one that big for a long time, but never know the way things are going. So maybe look at some options. I don't know what you think. Like you suggested, Jeff, something like that to see if that would go.
You take a look at, you know what DOT shop has?
I do.
Okay.
We were just thinking we'd have stuff inside where we could shut the doors and walk away from it like we got now. Instead of open where the snow and crap can blow in and the leaves and all that crap.
If we're gonna do that, or even look into we want the prices and stuff, but the other thing I was thinking is that I would say we probably need to do something as far as the salt and sand, but we got to take into consideration the projects that we're working on too. There's a lot of money involved right now, and there might be a possibility of accommodating you to some degree, but I don't know if we could do all of that. I'm just not sure. Don't have enough information right now. Need some facts.
And the building is bad. There's no argument.
Oh, yeah.
10 years ago when I was there, it was rusting,
I've seen it.
bottoms out. So,
Yeah.
no, that is, it needs to be something done. Shane's got a good idea. You just need to decide what.
Can I assume if you just did salt and sand areas, that in a few years you'd need another building?
That's why we were trying to
And
go,
you're putting them together, so it's not just for one purpose, it's a multi-purpose
right.
project you're suggesting.
The sewer department said that they would help pay for some of this if we did like a heated area to maybe get the dump truck and the excavator in and out easier and back in easier. Because if you're by yourself, you can't back it into his shed by yourself. Because you have to blindside it and you'll hit something. There's just not enough room down there. That's why we thought we'd make it like a heated area for that. And then, like the water department has stuff that they're gonna need another building. I was just trying to make it big enough to get all the department stuff in. And I have the space right there, and it'd be centrally located, so their trailer that they have to have warm or whatever can be in there too. And then if we want to move something out of our shop to make it less crowded, we could.
You're talking about heating this building also?
Just like 60 by whatever. A quarter or half of it. But we would do that work, or insulate that ourselves. That's why we got the engineers involved. So that way we're not shoving these walls out the first year we're doing it, or the second year, or the 25th year, or whatever.
They say this building's 120 feet.
The one we would like is 120 by whatever, 100.
Only have is 40 by 80 right now.
Yeah,
Stacked up sand puts a lot of weight against a 6-foot tall wall. Would it be parapets? We have to start thinking about parapets. I mean, that's be something the engineer would have to figure out.
that's why I'm here to see if we can't go any further. They won't design a building until we say, yes, we're gonna do something. Or yes, we'll pay for their services, or I'm not going to put up the walls because I'm not I'm a flat guy, not a wall guy. And sometimes that leaves a lot to be desired. The flat.
I guess I'd like to see a menu of options as far as sizes and to what degree of finish, and open sided and for hoop building, just get more information.
Or maybe even a combination of both, the hoop building for the storage, and if we needed extra room inside, we could have maybe a 60 by 100 or something instead of 120 by 100. But I think we need options.
I'll leave this open-ended until Shane can come back with the options. I want to be consistent as earlier and make a motion to table with those options. Council,
I think we just need to
Open-ended?
open-end it and see what he can come up with.
Think shrinking a little bit. I'm not saying that you have to, but I'd like to see what you think you could do with smaller to some degree without,
I'd like to stay at the 120 long.
mhm.
The depth, I don't have to have that. I mean, we want to be maybe, 80 or even.
Would that
I
accommodate?
gotta measure the dump truck and
Yeah.
the trailer and that, because we want to be able to back that in
Would that
comfortably.
accommodate the sand and at that depth too? And salt and all that other stuff?
It will, it'll make it tighter, but we can make it work. This building, I don't know how much longer it's gonna last.
Yeah,
No, there's no argument. I just keep thinking about that new fire station addition to put on. That's like 7,000. That's half this one. Keep it. It's got room for 5 or 6 fire trucks.
I could put all of them in this one. Stack them up. Plus police cars, plus the. I'd like to leave it long because our building is 80 long, but we struggle for like cones and signs and all that we want to put in there too. Right now, they're up off the dirt on a pallet, be nicer to walk into something. We do have storage in there too. I mean, we use it. We put our brooms in there and our sanders and sander bodies and
There is no action item other than Shane to come back with options. I will extend this agenda item to a public with comment. Hearing none, I'm going to move to 8.12, discussion and possible action on stormwater system repair on Sycamore Street. Shane Brown, Street Superintendent.
Shane Brown again. So Sycamore and Division, I've got 3 intakes that have cut the rock out from underneath the edges, and we're not sure if it's underneath of the road. I went out to Bryce or talked to them, and they didn't give me a bid. The only one that gave me a bid to do it was Rachi. We'd be replacing 3 intakes. One on the north side of Sycamore, one on the south side of Sycamore, and then one on the northwest corner of Division. And then also that fire hydrant is very old, so they would do that too. So just to have that done and then fix the curb and gutter and then pull out to see how much is actually under mine because the street is dropping. And it's actually falling in. So this is one of those items that I'd like to see us get done sooner than later. Rachi's gave me a bid of $33,480. And then to do the fire hydrant was $6,500. So that gets us to $39,980. But we would tear up one corner would be 2 intakes and the fire hydrant. The south side would be 1 intake. They would put a new intake in and fix the edges. And so that way we can get that taken care of. Right now, I had my cones stolen from there. I had cones, so kids would stay out of it. Apparently they like the cones. It's not safe. There's a drop off. I mean, the last couple of years, they've been just throwing patch in it to make it last, but now we've cambered our storm pipe. The pipe looks good. It's just the intake area and water's getting underneath of it way back about 20 feet. And it's got the rock and dirt out from underneath of it. So it's allowing the cement to drop.
Rod, do we need a motion for this?
I believe so, as we would be accepting a bid as it's being proposed by Shane.
We've got
Is
just
this
one
the
bid.
only bid you got?
I tried to get Boomerang to give me one and I never seen it. It's that I called them 2.5 weeks ago. And then I called them last week and I said, I'm taking this to council tonight and I got nothing. So the Rachi came out and they got right at it and he came down and we talked about it. And he was in the same boat we are. I don't want to spend the money, but I feel we need to.
The bid,
Before
the bid
this
again
gets-
was what? I didn't quite.
So they're gonna take out the 3 intakes that are falling in now. They're
Yeah.
brick. They're going to fix the curb and gutter because that's been washed out underneath and it's falling in. So it's dropping.
Is it going back where you can't see how far back it goes?
We've been underneath of it and it goes back 15 or so.
So they're gonna have to dig down and clean it, and fill that all back in with
Yep.
gravel and
Mhm. And we thought about doing it, but it's way more than we can handle.
okay. What was the price on that?
To do the fire hydrant too, 39,980.
Where would the money come from?
So we still have some money in storm water, the 20,000 originally budgeted, so either something else has to get cut or we'll have to amend it at the end of the year.
It needs to be done. Agree with that. Just too bad Boomerang or whoever didn't give a bid. If they're that busy or why, but
I can only call them so many times.
not your fault.
I mean, I don't want to be their babysitter too. I figured 2 phone calls and I told them what I wanted to do and I figured I gave them enough time. I mean, I called Rachi the same day and they came out and I had it in my hand.
So what's their time frame for completing this? Did
I-
they give you one?
No,
Okay.
depending on the weather. I mean,
Well,
Shane,
the
there
drain
are-
on Sycamore and Division could be very problematic if somebody had an accident as a result of it, because it's down this far.
I know it is. And
No, it could collapse if a car drove over that area too close.
yeah, I think so. We're getting to that point now.
I hate just going with one bid, but
I had a street collapse on me up here on Dubuque.
Yeah.
Water got underneath the street. I got to pour that back tomorrow. And it did, it's done the same thing. It washed out. However, it washed out. And one of our bus drivers called me and said, hey, you better take a look at it. We went up there on Friday, we cut it out, filled it with rock. It's still sitting there, but we're gonna pour it tomorrow.
yeah, it's supposed to
But
be.
I mean,
decent.
that was a thing, a quick fix, because that was down 2 foot in some spots. So I just don't want this to get any worse. And then this winter, when it's
Yeah.
really cold and we can't fix it.
Shane, there are 2 exclusions within this. Unstable soil conditions and rock excavation. Is that something that if this has to be applied, that the city could assist with that?
Yep.
It wouldn't need to be.
If we need to haul
Rachi,
rock, yeah.
Okay.
Normally, like the last one we did, Rachi's got it and we hauled the dirt. So if we need to haul the rock, like we can do that too, or the concrete away, even for that matter. Just depends on a snowstorm.
Sure.
As efficiently as your crew seems to be working, I guess my next question is, how much do you think you could help them to alleviate some of the costs, or is there, or have you talked to him about that?
I haven't, he just gave me this, so, cause he knew I wanted to bring it to you guys tonight.
Yeah,
Any help that we can give them, I'm sure they would get here faster, you know what I mean?
yeah.
If we can haul the cement away, maybe they can just send a crew to pull it out, we haul it away. I don't know, I need to, I'll have to talk to him, but
don't know, I look, like John said, we're dealing with citizen safety.
Well, thing is it's not gonna get any better.
No, it's
And
not.
The longer it goes, the worse it's gonna get. And then it's just gonna cost even more.
Yeah.
We could be liable, it's bad enough at division in Sycamore,
Yeah,
but I could call in,
you could lose your dog.
I could.
And Beth, you said we've got what, 20,000?
Currently in the, so
In your opinion, is there enough money someplace that we can resolve this?
yeah, I mean, everything depends on the year too. If we don't have to order the rest of our salts. If, there's a lot. of
If, yeah, I know.
Move to approve 8.12.
Second,
Motion by motion by Kay, second by Rich. To approve Rachi's bid as submitted. Further discussion from council. Public comment. Beth, please.
Smith,
Yes,
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
yes,
Motion to approve carried unanimously. 8.13, review and approval of pay application number 2 for well number 6 project to Gingrich Well and Pump Service LLC in the amount of $142,534.20.
Move to approve.
second,
Motion by Alan, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth?
Lockhart,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Crump,
yes,
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.14, discussion of possible action designating the Journal Eureka, the official newspaper for Anamosa, Iowa for 2022.
Move to approve.
second,
Motion by Jeff, second by Kay. Council discussion. Public comment. Beth, please.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
yes,
Smith,
yes,
Lockhart,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.15, discussion and possible action on amending the hotel motel allocations for fiscal year 2022.
should have a copy of the resolution from the last round. Currently, we haven't released any hotel motel allocation funds, just because we haven't closed out the rag fry, event. And those are that's really the only fund we can use to reimburse ourselves for. We can retain hotel motel funds to cover those expenses. It's getting to be late in the year, and I just need an opinion on whether or not you want us to release those funds or hold those funds.
well, it's been 5 months since Ragbri.
Correct.
And have they made any effort to make any payment?
They have not. I have asked, last week, Doug Eagle was going to close out their account. We were going to just settle for that. That hasn't happened, so I have tried calling, both the chamber and, Betty Weimer. But I haven't gotten to talk to anybody yet.
Nobody's returned your call.
Correct.
So,
That's all. I do know that the chamber was paid a $2,500 by the RAGBRAI committee. I did see that on an earlier treasurer's report. That's probably been a month or two ago. So I'm not sure if that means that the chamber's in charge of managing the rest or how RAGBRAI goes. I don't know that answer. I know the executive committee hasn't met as far as paying bills or any discussion, so I don't really know too much else about it.
Have they provided the financial information as stipulated?
They have not,
They have not.
they have not.
And you have requested. it.
I have requested it.
So,
My request was, I had gotten two emails back when I did make that request. They were wanting more detailed breakdown of city funding or our invoice that was sent to them in August. We can go down that path, I guess, the more itemized. There were quite a few things I didn't include on that invoice. For example, the Division Street Bridge repair, which has just finally been completed. I didn't have any charges for any equipment use with the street department. I don't know. I figured we were settling for what was in the account, but that's not what happened. So
If they would settle with that,
it would cover the police department expenses, which
and
are
then the rest of it we would forget.
our main concern. Yeah, at least my main concern was the police department
Yeah.
expenses, which technically should have been paid from the RAGBRAI committee directly.
Yeah. Okay.
We will be doing the 1099s and finishing out those expenses this year as well.
All right.
Council, is there any more discussion? I see that we have some. The public would like to make comments. I don't want to not give the council opportunity to have all the discussion they need regarding this.
well, I'm just going to say that I'm greatly disappointed that for their failure to abide by the ordinance of allowing the review of the financials. Because after 5 months, things should have been taken care of by this point in time.
Angela, before I open this up, it appears you have something to comment on. I will ask that you only speak on the agenda item, which is the hotel motel allocations.
So I can't just ask a question.
On,
So I don't want to be dismissive to anybody, but the agenda item is the hotel motel allocations.
I was just wanting clarification on what payment you think was made from RAGBRAI to the Anamosa Chamber. Because the Anamosa Chamber had nothing to do with RAGBRAI. We paid RAGBRAI to be a vendor. We did not get paid by RAGBRAI for anything.
the email I have says that Leanna Boone was paid directly rather than going through the chamber.
Okay, so
Oh,
that's
she
different.
was paid, I don't know
So
then,
that-
because that has nothing to do with the chamber. If Leanna Boone was paid to
It said
help
that-
with RAGBRAI, that has nothing to do with the chamber.
It said that rather than reimbursing the chamber, they were to pay Leanna directly.
I'd have to get
So-
clarification on that. So I
That's
don't know
okay.
if that was for her time. I don't know what that's for, but I know that the chamber's only involvement in RAGBRAI was we were a vendor. We had nothing else to do with it.
Well, in my opinion, Chamber did have something to do with it from the standpoint, Chamber benefited from the outside vendors paying the chamber dues.
They did not.
They did
The
not.
vendors paid the RAGBRAI committee. The chamber did
No,
not.
no, no, they, according to the ordinance, according to what Leanna said, they could join the chamber for $50 and get a discount for their vendor fee. So chamber did benefit,
A discount was given to people who were chamber members.
right? Which in turn, outside vendors joined chamber. So chamber
If you
got
want to
membership.
manipulate it that way, I guess.
Well, they had
So-
till June. They had till June to join the chamber, I believe.
We'll
was-
accept
there was
chamber
a
members
date.
at any time. But
That's what-
I'm just
yeah.
letting you know that the chamber did not receive finances from RAGBRAI. The chamber did not sponsor RAGBRAI. The chamber's name is being thrown around a lot concerning RAGBRAI. And it's muddying the waters and it's causing some hard feelings that shouldn't be there when it was a committee of community volunteers that got together and used their time and their resources to try and put on an event in town. And it's just been dragged through the mud and somehow the chamber got attached to that and that's not fair.
Well, it's because everything we got from RAGBRAI came from the chamber, from Leanna's.
She may have
chamber
used
email.
the wrong email. So
But
going forward, I
still-
guess I'll ask her to make sure that she doesn't use her chamber email when
That would be
she's doing
best.
things that don't have to do with the chamber.
That would be.
But sometimes I guess I'm guilty of sending personal emails from my work email too. So,
I'm not.
but
It's a clear definition.
so the chamber had nothing to do with RAGBRAI. The chamber did not get paid by RAGBRAI. The chamber is not
You
holding
should
any
really
funds
clarify
hostage.
that, though.
What?
You should clarify that,
Clarify what?
the payment, because that's what the payment said, that rather than reimbursing the chamber for Leanna's wages, they were to pay her directly.
That could be, I don't know how RAGBRAI works. I didn't know that anybody got paid to work RAGBRAI. I don't
I
know.
didn't either.
Yeah.
So. But I would appreciate it if you would stop dragging the chamber through the mud.
How do we proceed with the hotel motel allocations?
Do we,
I asked, Angela. Since the bank account was set up under Anamosa Festivals, which is also under the chamber,
It's a separate nonprofit. It has its own tax ID. It's a completely separate board and everything.
so when they do, so do they run Pumpkin Fest, which is supposed to be a chamber event through Anamosa Festivals? There's a lot, you talk about muddying the water. This is pretty muddy.
If you
where
would like
things
to
are
sit
going.
down and discuss what
Too.
Anamosa Festivals does, I would be happy to set up a time to do that.
So is Leanna the director of Anamosa Festivals as well?
No, there's a board of 4 of us that
Are they
represent
the same
Anamosa.
board that's on the chamber?
Not all of them.
But there is overlap.
There is a little.
Okay.
Well, come January, there'll be one overlap.
Okay. Yeah. If you
I
could
mean,
send me
it
a copy of
was
your
set up for the
bylaws, that would be
benefit of
great.
any community events
Yeah.
for basically a tax, people donate money and then be able to legally deduct
It's
what they donated on their taxes.
to promote arts, festivals, community, to give people a way to support the community and invest in the future of Anamosa, bring tourism to town. It's not just for the chamber. I mean, we've worked with veterans groups. We've worked with the chamber. So
I know it's not easy to get. I mean, that's back when Emily Knut was in town. She worked to get this place. I mean, I know it took a lot of time and effort to get it in place.
When who was in town again, please?
Emily Knut, I forget her married name, but back when she was here, I know she helped to get this established for the community.
Adrian's office set it all up like 20 years ago, maybe.
But is
15.
not the payment for the police a big part of the issue?
Correct.
Did-
This is a side, just kind of big picture on animals festivals, but the police. So when they were here in 2012, I'm thinking back to 1098s, did they get paid over the amount that was, because like back then it was $600, they got paid more than that, there had to be a 1098
Yeah, because I did see in your packet where you did issue the 1099s.
in 2012.
Correct.
So the president has been set that the police get paid from the RAGBRAI income, no matter what it's called, whether it's festival or chamber or what, right?
Well, going back to 2012, when that came through, funds were tight and the city didn't help. I mean, all the officers got paid, but we weren't gonna have enough money. And Greg Grover at the sheriff's department, we weren't gonna have enough to go around. And he basically said, pay us what you can to zero out and I'll make the rest work. So I mean, the county really helped us out at that time. I mean, at that time, the city and the police department didn't.
Well, in one respect too, the difference between that time, the city had a lot of control of the event, correct?
Correct. The
So
bank
when-
account was set
Because
up through
the
city.
bank account and everything was set up underneath the
It
city.
was technically under the city, but it was managed and handled by
The
the
committee.
appointed people on the committee. So technically it was
Right.
under the city, but the check said Anamosa rag where I just so happened to fall into the city's tax. ID
Right,
book.
but the city administrator at that time, and I believe a council member served on the executive committee and did an awful lot at that point in time. So it's kind of underneath the city's umbrella, where this was a private organization.
But at that time, the checks were signed not by city people, they were signed
Right.
by designated people on the rag committee.
Right, but then the city had looked at and reviewed and probably became part of the audit too. The city's audit. So do we, I guess as the question is, do we reduce everybody for a total of what, 9,500 or whatever the police were?
Right.
Reduce everybody a percentage to get down to that 9,500? What do we do? What's the
Another
suggestion?
question, the local option sales tax, there's nothing in here. That doesn't
You
factor
can't
in?
use that.
Okay.
No, that's, local option sales tax has very specific purposes that were voted on.
So
So
why is it listed on here as a blank item? That's confusing.
on which, this is just the resolution from last year
Okay.
that we passed.
But if they can't be used, why do we list it on here?
No,
Well,
they
she-
can be used for what specific thing they're listed for.
Yeah.
So RAGBRAI would be considered an economic development activity. So it would
Okay.
only pertain to hotel
Oh,
motel
I see.
funds, which
Only,
are
only
allowed.
those two. Sorry, I looked at it wrong. I was thinking it was, never mind.
Yeah, the general fund or the local option, those are different. It's really just that top, the hotel motel fund section. And it's up to you. That was just my take on it. The rest of it is still an expense. Whether or not you decide you want to forgive that is your vote.
So what is our other option if we don't proceed with the hotel motel option?
So if we don't proceed with hotel motel, we'll probably need to engage Patrick to collect from the RAGBRAI committee, or I'm not sure how all that will unwind, but
That will cause a lot of tension. I kind of like Beth's suggestion that we pay the police and then forget. And I don't like having to eat that, but sometimes you have to do things like that. I think we should,
I don't even know if that's an option.
you don't think it's an option or you
I don't know that that's an
you
option.
don't know that?
What's that?
From what I've gotten from my email responses, it's not.
It's not.
Have them pay the police or,
Yeah,
so
The
our
balance.
option is to hold back about 9,500 in hotel motel because that money can be used
for the police.
for the
expense.
police because it was a festival.
And then the other expenses, we just leave go.
Well, unless you want to hold more than that, that's, again, that's your decision. You kind of know where we're at
I think it's going to
with the
create
expenses.
tension. I think maybe that might be the best option. I mean,
Where are you getting the $9,500? I'm not following your figures.
That's how much the police department expenses were for the event.
Oh, I was thinking item on here.
Sorry.
No,
I think maybe the
If
next,
I remember, it was close to that. I don't know that that's the exact, but I kind of remember that from
It's pretty close
back
to
in
that.
July.
I think it would be the best route to go. I don't feel that we should be creating a lot of tension, and the city might just well step up to the plate this time. But if we have another RAGBRAI, I think we have to make sure that we have everything down so everybody understands what they're doing, so we don't have to go through something like this again. It's created some problems.
So could we say if the police are paid by the next meeting, then we can go ahead and distribute the funds as were requested in and approved for the,
Can I ask what the police officers, were they paid a flat rate? Were they paid their normal hourly rate? How are they, how is that determined?
So the outside officers were paid a flat fee per hour.
Which
And
was
ours were just paid their regular wages.
if they were already working or if they weren't working and were hired.
We had to bring in extra people that weren't working.
So if you were not scheduled to work that day, you got paid under the flat fee. that
No, you still got paid your regular
Of the
wages.
city.
Yes.
But if we hired state patrol or county, they got
Correct.
paid a flat. I'm just, in 2012, that was almost 10 years ago. It was a pretty hefty hourly rate back then.
And it still is. To get an officer to come to work the extra hours is still expensive.
And they're,
There
They're
wasn't, they
union.
weren't just lining up to do it. It was work to get them here.
and they are union contracts, so that makes a difference on what,
Mhm.
you know.
Not mentioning this to add a twist to anything, wasn't our budget, didn't it include budget we approved for this year, included additional money for RAGBRAI on the
Because
police department?
the state requires the city not to have a budget that's not to exceed,
Sure.
which means we have to pay things out. So we have to have them in our budget. We should also have revenue on the other side that balances that budget. So there is also a revenue side to that budget. We can't pay, while we're doing the budget amendment, we are close to exceeding on some of those items because of, the derecho or whatever. Even though we have the insurance money that comes in that offsets it, we don't just put the money in the budget without a revenue.
Well, it looks like, council, you have a few options to go. I guess tabling this is one to allow more time.
probably needs to be done by the end of the year for
It'd be nice, but
accounting purposes.
It would be
um,
June 30th, right?
What's that?
Well, I was just thinking that it would fall in fiscal year that we're currently in. It wouldn't.
Well, it's been 5 months or, so, or close to 5 months that it's my opinion that someplace along the line, there should have been communication about this. So I would be willing to table this until December 28th to see if a check comes in by that point in time. And if it does not, then we address it through
A check for the police.
a check for the police. And then we will, if it needs to be brought back up, we address the hotel motel at that point in time.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay to table until our next council meeting. For hopefully proposed payment of the police expenditure from RAGBRAI. Further council discussion? Public have any comment on this? Beth, please.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba.
Yes.
Motion to table carried unanimous. 8.16, review and approval of new liquor license for Axe Cave.
move to approve. It's pretty
Second.
cool inside.
Motion by Kay, second by Jeff. Council discussion?
Just one question. Axcade, is this a new business?
Yes.
Mhm.
Good.
Alcohol and axe throwing.
Good combination, isn't it, Dale?
That sounds like a.
You mix alcohol and axe together? I think we need to table this one, guys.
There's cages.
New business on Main Street, so. Let's see that.
Further discussion? Not to cut the humor short, but public comment? Beth, please.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron.
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 8.17, review and approval of current bills.
The bills in your packet originally pulled in the last set of bills because we printed the checks a little bit later. So I gave you a revised set of bills. on this table.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Allen, second by Galen. Council discussion?
I do have one concern. I see 4,221, the Carpet Land USA. The reason we didn't go through our in-town carpet store for
The
that.
insurance company is the reason through the duration. So the insurance company, we're under, first on site is doing our entire insurance claim. That's their carpet contractor.
They don't pay us unless us buy it where we want.
No. Well, we can, but I don't have the time to administer the $500,000 insurance claim that four
This was
locations.
part of the larger claim.
So while they were doing the carpet in City Hall, they did the other two rooms because they were going to leave them the old carpet. So that's why we paid Carpet Land directly for those other two areas of carpet.
It looks really good up there.
It does.
It really does. It's going to be usable space again.
It's a lot less moldy.
Mm-hmm.
Any other council discussion? Public comment? Beth, please.
yes,
Crump,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Motion to approve payment of the bills carried unanimous. 9.0, city administrators report.
Utility billing is up, but we did not get to do reminder notices again, so Merry Christmas to everyone. We'll have another penalty-free month. We did get them in the mail today, so January, we should be back on track. Otherwise, things are a little rough, but we're getting there. We are going to be doing the carpet in the council chambers. It'll be on, I think, the second week in January. Should only take a few days, but we'll be meeting here, so it should be fine. Other than that, I think most of our ratio stuff is done and some carpet's done. We have a few ceiling tiles, but we'll probably just do those in-house and. Other than that, we posted deputy city clerk position.
Excuse me, what you say?
We posted the deputy city clerk position. It'll be posted until January 10th. Busy, we're busy.
Where did we advertise? Just,
It'll be in on the corridor careers, next week. So,
You know, what's the outreach of that?
that I don't know. It's online. I think a lot of other ones pick it up from one. I'll post it on ClerkNet and possibly the League of Cities if I can get their new website done.
Also have any questions on the city administrator's report? 10.0 mayor and council reports. 10.1 mayor's report. Since the last meeting, I did receive a positive comment from an individual in the public on how clean and well kept the city had looked to them recently. So streets, water, wastewater, all city personnel, job well done. Like to take this opportunity to thank the LCC staff and the volunteers that put on the tree walk. What I hear, it was very well attended, and it was a pleasure to be in person with that event again. So Shelley, please take that back to your staff and those that volunteered. That's all I have. 10.2 council reports.
Now, as I mentioned about the flood insurance or premiums going up. The other thing, 911, the sheriff reported, they don't know why, city of Wyoming, he said he had trouble down at the school out there. He could call out, but he couldn't get any response. He said fire can, but for some reason they couldn't, so they got to spend money to get on a tower down there so they can get better. He had to finally go to his cell phone to see if somebody was responding to help him. So that's just a problem. They don't know why right there out of town it works, but right in town it don't. That's it.
Thanks, John. Any other reports? 11.0, public comment for items not on the agenda.
Good evening, Matt McQuillan. I was just here to comment about just community culture. The last time I was here, you heard me commenting about the status of the old Dubuque Road extension. I am happy to see that that continues to progress. I believe that, Alan, your comments about the RAGBRAI funds and expressing concern about creating some tensions. Obviously, I think everyone here should understand that there are certainly tensions in the community. We have had 3 or 4 we've had 3 or 4 of the department heads in the city who have had turnover. We've had a turnover of a position at the city clerk's office. We've had an effort to censure our mayor, who was reelected. We've had a couple of incumbent city council people who have been now turned over in an election. I heard tonight the discussion about Ragbri. There have been comments from community members about concerns about the city's level of participation in Pumpkin Fest. And there are more. And I think any of you who have been out in the community, if you start asking some people, you're gonna get a reaction that there is certainly a concern about how the city culture is going. It doesn't look good for the city for these problems to arise. We can do better. The trend of having these problems, the appearance of these problems is not good for economic development. It's not good for community culture. It's not good for volunteerism. People start not participating because they aren't sure what's going to result. They don't raise voices because they're concerned about possible retaliation or just being talked over or talked down. Those are all issues that I perceive, and this is as I'm here talking about my opinion, is my observations. With the new council coming forward, I would really challenge you to start working on spending funds for team building exercises, culture building exercises, not having, I'm going to be asking for all the city's attorney bills itemized. It sure seems like we run to the city attorney often to push problems that should be solved without having to go to the attorney. There are other issues out there. I've talked to many of you about some of those issues. I'm here just to sort of wrap my arms around this and say, I think that we can do better. I don't want to get into specific. We can do less blaming and more working on collaborating to work together. Take some awareness in order. We all have biases. We all have experiences. It takes some honest humility to look in the mirror and say, maybe I can do a little bit better, and maybe I have some role in this. Right now, my observation is that doesn't happen real often when there are problems that arise in the community. But thank you for your time.
Anyone else from the public have comment? 12.0 adjournment. Consider the meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for taking time out. See you. Hope you have a happy holiday.
And in the winter, they have them at the courthouse. Summer, they have them out.